Have you ever wondered how Rembrandt got that intense beam of light or the shimmering effect of a Monet water lily or the earthiness of Cezanne's landscapes? Or more importantly, what colors or pigments they use? When you browse through an art supply store like Utrecht, there are a dizzying array of choices, from the medium of paint you pick to the brand of paint that you pick to the pigments that you pick. How do you know which pigments you need? You could buy a kit, or you could copy the palette of a master. This is Monet's palette. When we talk about an artist's palette, we're really talking about the pigments or the pigment sets that they use. At least we don't have to grind our own these days. A palette or a pigment set can be as simple as a few colors, like Picasso's Rose period, or as complex as a Delacroix. Delacroix was known to use up to 64 colors on his palette. Most artists have it narrowed down to 6 to maybe 24 colors. In this project, we're going to create our own virtual palettes of the masters Rembrandt, Monet, and Cezanne. And then we're going to create our own virtual palette. I'm going to give you a walkthrough of the Rembrandt palette, and then you should be able to create the other three. In the case of Monet, I've added a yellow gradient layer because Monet liked to underpaint his canvas with yellow. You're going to need these files. You're going to need Rembrandt palette PSD, Monet palette PSD, Cezanne palette PSD, my palette PSD, the pigment color chart JPEG or JPEG, and you're going to need the artist palette document. So let's get started. In the layers palette, you will see we have created a palette, a white layer, a black layer, a ringed gradient layer, and our mixed layer. Even though it looks like a color wheel, what we are doing is creating a virtual palette. We're going to lay out our main colors or pigments much like a color wheel, and then use the mix layer to see the range and tone of the colors we can make with the pigments we've selected. Let's start with the yellows. Let's open up our pigment chart. Now, Rembrandt favored an earth palette, or he used what is known as earth pigments, the ochres, the siennas, and umbers, which would have been the most commonly available pigments in his time. Rembrandt also had to grind his own paint. Now, on this color chart, we're going to find the earth pigments over on the right side. And if you look around for a while, you'll find a yellow or gold ochre. So this is how you select it. You come over to the palette, and then that will bring up the little eyedropper. And you just go to the gold ochre and left click somewhere in the middle. And just say OK. And then that gives you the gold ochre. Let's go back to our Rembrandt palette. And on the yellow side, we will just fill it with yellow. We're just going to work our way through the yellows. To find the pigments that these artists used, you're going to need to bring up your Word document, Artist Palettes. And if you scroll down through it, you'll find the pigments that each artist used. This is Rembrandt's palette. Rembrandt had a pretty simple palette for the yellows. He has a golden yellow ochre that we've already selected, a raw sienna deep, titanium buff, which or unbleached titanium. The closest in the color chart that I could find to that color is BBOH Yellow Deep. For his green, he used an emerald green. The blues, Prussian blue or Parisian blue. And for the reds, he used a cad red light and a burnt umber, kind of the mid-tone, and a burnt umber, very dark. So we're just going to select it. Now, we're just going to have to bring our color chart up again. And we'll go over to the siennas is right here. We do the same kind of process. We click on our palette, brings up the eyedropper, go to probably about the midpoint, say OK, bring up the Rembrandt palette. I'm just going to fill these 3 rings here. Then I'm going to go back to my pigment chart. Titanium buff is over here. Click on the palette, bring up the eyedropper, kind of click in the middle, back to the palette. I'm going to do cancel, bring up the chart. I'm going to find emerald green. There's our greens. Here's the emerald green. I'm going to select it over on this side a little bit. The Rembrandt. And since he just had one green, I'm going to fill this whole little pie with that. I'm going to do the same thing with the blue. This is a Persian blue or Parisian blue is what this chart's calling it. I'm going to select it. It's a little bit on the dark side. And for his reds, he used a cad red light, which is right here. And he's also using a burnt umber. Burnt umber is right here. We don't have an equivalent of burnt umber brownish and burnt umber very dark. So for the brownish, just select something in the middle. And for the dark, just select over on the far side. When you're done, your palette should look similar to mine. Now that you've created this virtual palette, let's see how we use it. So we just use the select tool or the eyedropper tool, and we'll just select a ring from our palette, say OK, and then we go to our mix layer. We've got to turn it on for it to work, and you fill your mix layer. And much like the color wheel that we worked on before, you just go up to the opacity and move the slider around, and you start to see the range of colors that you could get with these pigments. If you turn the palette layer off and you go to the black layer and we use our mix layer, if we turn our mix layer down with black, we can get, you know, a progressively darker red, and then that would affect our palette. we can do the same thing with the white and have kind of a pink layer. Another palette. Or you can also just use the gradient layer, which kind of gives you the whole range of colors. Now, I hope after you've created these resources that you will spend some time exploring the different palettes, see how they would work. When you've completed your artist palettes, I want you to save as, and it should have the name of the palette. This says Rembrandt palette. And so if you just click in front of that, and then I would just like you to enter your last name. So I'm just going to type in Fielding, and then click Save. Okay, and then those are the files that I want you to submit to me, and I want you to submit them as PSD files. Also, there's going to be a discussion board for you to post your findings about this project. I want to know, what did you discover from this project? Which palettes do you prefer, and why do you prefer those palettes? Do you have a favorite pigment or a favorite color? A couple of mine are, I really like cadmium red, medium, and this Egyptian violet that I've been using lately. So I hope you enjoy this project, and I'm waiting to see your results.